everyone, I'm Colleen and I'm here in beautiful Grand Junction, Colorado. I was walking along Main Street and all of a sudden I stumbled upon this gem, this hole in the wall, the Winery Restaurant. It's been here since 1973 and it's a fine dining local establishment, and today we're here to talk to Steve Tongs, the owner, about his restaurant. It's all happening right here, right now on Triple C, Colleen's Creative Corner. Come on, let's go. Alright, so this place has been open for 43 years. You can tell that everything's kind of the same in here. It was an old horse-drawn fire station carriage place in the 1910s. That's when it opened. They kind of kept the same thing around here going. This is their bar and lounge. So this place has been open for 43 years. We even have, if you zoom in up there, we even have our old menu from when it first opened up. The prime rib's only $9 on there, so things have changed a lot around. So this is where the scheduling happens. This is where all the employees can find their information. We also have our employee list. So, what sparked your interest in owning the Winery Restaurant?
I needed a job. This restaurant's always been a really cool restaurant. I remember when the founder of the restaurant sold it to another person in 2001. I remember being disappointed that he didn't at least have an option to get that, or to get an opportunity to be there. I sold my last restaurant in 2002. By 2004, had found a job, figured out what I wanted to do, opportunity to get here. Came up and I purchased a restaurant from the second owner. As far as restaurants, businesses hold values in different ways. Part of it would be like the identity. When you look at like a mission statement, as far as like a business plan, especially within a restaurant, restaurant's going to have an identity. How it presents itself to the community. To what demographic are we going to try to attract people, and for why. The restaurant fills a niche in Grand Junction that is somewhat unique. So, from a business standpoint, I felt like that had some value. So when I went to buy a restaurant, it was one of the things I could equate value to. In like family restaurants since I was 15. There was a couple of years when I was in college I didn't work for my family. I worked at a record store across the street from the college. That store was, granted it was the 80s, so it was a record store. It was a video rental store. We also sold some electronic equipment such as VCRs, video cameras, etc. And it was also a head shop. So we sold pipe scale screens, for non-traditional tobacco use at the time. What would be known today as marijuana pipe products and some other pipe drugs.
When did you first know you wanted to work for yourself?
I suppose I always kind of had the idea of taking over one of my father's businesses and then making it my own. Having worked for myself for 5 years now, I kind of want to work for somebody else. My boss is a real pain in the ass to me. It really is. If I treated you the way I treat me, you wouldn't take it. There are plenty of days, like I had the last couple of days off. I just want time where I don't have to worry about anything. I know you called me about a school matter. And when my phone went off and it said Colleen Milliken, my blood pressure went up like 12 points. I'm like,
Okay.
Also realized at a point after I took off after I sold my last restaurant and I did apply for jobs, I'm virtually unemployable because I've never really worked for anybody. I don't have a lot of really socially acceptable skills. I don't think I would I would be very direct as far as, you know, how I would approach a problem, and I don't think I've been really politically correct socially.
Okay. What do you think are the benefits of owning a small business?
There's a benefit.
You don't think there is?
Sure, there's pros and cons to everything, I suppose. You know, there are days it's just very hard. It's hard to make all this work. It's hard to pay bills. Sometimes there are so many things that go on. I mean, I have to, like I like to say, I might be my own boss, is how it's perceived. When in fact, I have lots of bosses. You, as one of my employees, you have high expectations of me that I have to perform at a certain level. And if I don't, you're not happy with me. And I feel that pressure. You're pretty easy on me, but other people really have some high standards. And if I vary from that, you know, they're trash talking me behind my back. That's hard for me. I personalize that sort of thing. I don't like hearing that. You know, some of the cons within my business is people's expectations of me vary. What you as an employee expect from me is one thing, another employee expects something else. Same thing with my customers goes. Certain customers have certain expectations, another one has other expectations, and they can be higher, low, and they could vary per their event. If they're just coming in for dinner on Tuesday night, it'd be one expectation. But if they're coming in for dinner on Tuesday night and it's also their anniversary, everything's different. You know? So it's hard. But it's also cool that, you know, I get to do a variety of things. But then again, days like today, I feel stretched particularly thin. I've got a couple deadlines I'm trying to meet. You know, it's about 4. I'm going to be throwing some stuff to the post office to get a postmark today, so hopefully I'll get some place to start for an online order for yesterday. So.
Okay, so besides ownership, what roles do you play in the restaurant? For example, marketing or advertising, do you do payroll, employee scheduling, ordering?
Yes.
All of those things.
I do.
That's why I wrote it. So.
It all comes back to me. I mean, sort of like Truman, the buck stops here. You know, I delegate certain things, but at the end of the day, I'm really responsible for all of those things. Jimmy might order most of the food, but I sign every one of those checks. I have to set up parameters in which he operates. You know, what he can order, what he can't order. You know, costing as far as menu items.
Why do you think the winery restaurant has managed to stay open for 43 years, even with our economy in a recession?
Fit a need in the marketplace. We fill an niche. Quality food, quality service, consistent.
The customers are just really great. Customer base that keeps coming back.
You know, I don't know how many of our customers, we have a lot of repeat customers, but we're not the kind of place you eat at weekly. You know, we're often known as a special occasion restaurant, so you're only celebrating your birthday once a year. Unless you're trying to get 2 free desserts out of me, then you might be celebrating your birthday twice a year.
What are like your average, what do your average sales, revenues, expenses look like weekly or monthly or for the year?
It's proprietary information. You know, we can talk about things in different ways. Basic business model for a restaurant might be 30% food cost, 30% labor cost, 30% fixed cost, and then 10% for the restaurant for as far as owners. So, you know, looking through, we did like a 29% liquor cost last year. We did like a 36% food cost last year.
So you like to have a percentage, or you have a certain set on how much you want to spend?
You have a pattern, a model. You know, when you set together your business plan, and you see what it is. You know, granted, can change, but you need to have an idea for, you know, how you're going to put it together and how you're going to work forward. You know, when run of cash flow and we do a cash flow statement, you got to come up. There's got to be method behind those numbers.
And then, what advice would you give to a young person right out of college that's interested in owning their own business?
Just live your dream. Don't let fear hold you back. As I look back over my life and see how many times, I get trapped in fear, fear of failure, fear of disappointing people, fear of whatever. When I bought this restaurant, at the time I really didn't want to own another restaurant. Having done this before, I felt like I had an opportunity, and I really felt like I would regret it more if I didn't take the opportunity than if I took the opportunity to fail.
Well, thanks so much.
Awesome.
Thanks.